I highly recommend, my friends, for you to become a practitioner, not a headline reader, of the current state of the internet. It's called social networks on the cell phone. It's also called podcasts on podcast networks. It's vlogging on YouTube. It's writing long form articles on LinkedIn. And maybe your industry is boring.
So I work insurance right now, and the first question I have is, how can I bring value and as a consumer for you, Gary, what would you say on this? How can I bring value without coming across as a salesman?
One more time, how do you bring value as to other people to then do business with you?
Yes.
By watching what I do, right? Like there's a lot of people who buy their wine now from my dad's store from Empathy Wines because I bring them value at all times. And then occasionally I mention what I do or what I'm passionate about, right? So the way you bring value without being too selly is by not being selly.
Right. But okay.
But also, like the last lady, being okay with asking for the sale once in a while. So you put out as much content, whether it's about Kansas, whether it's about esports, whether it's about insurance, whether it's about, you know, beard culture. You get people to know you. I'm being serious though. Your beard might be the single reason you sell the most insurance. Because nobody, you know, insurance is boring.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I know what you're saying. Why do you think there's Geico and Progressive, like, and the like Flo and like Snoopy for MetLife? Insurance is so fucking boring. They have to create like characters.
Right, and I don't want to do like what you've said in an interview before is like I don't want to sell fear. You know, that's one reason like you said that you wouldn't sell insurance is because of like how you sell it, you know?
Well, I would sell practicality though. You know, some people are like, what if he dies? You know, that's fear. But if you're like, hey, listen, unfortunately, as we all know, one day something will happen. And it's nice to have this in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going?
Right.
Not everyone is interesting. Not all content is interesting. Real estate as an industry is not always the most interesting.
Who says?
Oh, me.
Right. You're one fucking dude, Dick.
I know.
You don't get to say.
Fair enough.
Right?
But you say I do.
No, you do for you.
Right.
But not for the consumer.
True enough.
The end. This is a very important, you know, I'm jumping in and making a joke to make a very big point. Some people think it's really boring to watch men run into each other and play football. I think it's the most interesting shit in the world. Other people decide watching 6 episodes of Escaping R. Kelly is fucking fascinating. I do not. The audience gets to decide. So I keep telling people here, like, they're like, I'm not interesting. I'm like, the only thing you've got is that you're actually interesting because you're uniquely you. The biggest advantage everybody here has when it comes to this concept is their truth. But everybody tries to do what's the right thing to do, and they start to vanilla themselves.
So go deeper and deeper into content, as deep as I can get.
Correct. About anything, like, tripped today. Hurt my ankle. Post.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Third comment's gonna be like, I fucking hurt my ankle too today. We're humans, guys. We're humans. I mean it. It's why reality TV won. Reality TV got shit on. Social media got shit on. The closer to the truth, the better. We like it. It's why we rubberneck. It's why we try to like sit and listen to other people's conversations. It's what we do. We're interested. And so we have to talk about more, you know? When I hear trust as Karen, who just got motivated finally because I'm putting pressure on the system and she's gonna make her LinkedIn video, she hears trust and she's gonna start with a heavy sell up front. I've been doing this for 23 years, right? Whereas meanwhile, the way that Karen would have gotten my business is by making a reference to the Jets game against the Eagles this weekend. Because that's relevance. Or, you know?
Absolutely.
Or being an immigrant.
Absolutely.
Or liking root beer. This is why I push people to show every part of their lives. You never know if it's heavy metal, right? Or it's growing up with, you know, immigrant parents, right? Or sports culture, right? Like you don't know what the relevance is, but there's always relevance.
For sure.
And the number one advantage everybody has on the other side of this is the most unique thing about you is you. It is peeing your pants in second grade. a story I've shared. It is, you know, the way I became a Jets fan because I needed something to latch on to America. Something I shared. My report card. Something. You know how many people follow me because they sucked in high school too? You know,
relatable.
Yes, it's relevance. And it's true.
Yep.
You know, I like hip hop music. I like football. Notice how little I talk about fucking video games. I fucking am very aware that video game culture is a great content pillar for me to play on. But I have to share, when I do, I have to share that I can beat everybody in ice hockey for Nintendo because that's the last time I was a gangster in video games. 1987.
Super Tech Mobile.
I don't talk about Fortnite. I talk about the culture of Fortnite. So you stay in your lane, you stay around your passions, and you build a community around interests.
Love it.
And then when you're localized around that interest, you put out a LinkedIn piece of content around Zelda. You sell mortgages in fucking Des Moines, Iowa, and you find yourself 8 weeks later in a coffee shop with 11 people, all dressed up as fucking Link and Peach, and 4 days later, you closed your biggest deal. That's way better than a direct mail piece or a cold call or fucking bench ad.
Absolutely.
A lot of the stuff that people want to talk about puts them in a position of right hook land, you know, which then gets regulated. But there's a lot of other advice and content that can be put out that doesn't require all the disclaimers because it's a little more vanilla than you should do this.
And I think that's where actually we're uniquely positioned, and that's something.
Real quick, because I don't want to forget it. Or you could make content that's fairly vanilla that leads to phone calls.
And that's part of the second follow-up. So we are really unique position that our company actually gives about $300 million to charity and communities a year. And so I can talk about that and have no regulation.
You could talk about golf, and it could lead to financial services.
Yep.
You know, this is where people are very confused. There's a lot of people who started watching my content because they like the New York Jets, and that's the content they saw. They also happen to be into entrepreneurship or marketing. Like, you know, one of the weird things there was this one ad I ran years ago, early Facebook, where it was like, I don't want to make it up, but it was super narrow. I'm going to use this as a make pretend, but it wasn't wine. It was something else, but I was trying to sell something for a client. And let's just call it wine. And even though I would target Pinot Noir and wine and the Wine Spectator and Robert Parker, the number one thing that converted was fans of Britney Spears. I'm being dead serious. And why I'm telling that story right now is one of the things many of you should debate if you're a one-woman, one-man shop or a service-based business, but you're the foremost passionate expert on Pokemon or on European soccer or on having a garden in your backyard because it's your favorite thing, you would be fascinated by the shit that leads to your business results as long as you lean into something you really love and really know.